Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Wednesday, December 13th. This is our 60th episode of Sneakers and Cleats, and it is our final High School Hype Squad episode of the year. We are in championship week. You were just watching the six-man in the other room there,
Gordon and, I don't know, some other small town.
Someone that's about to get mercy ruled.
They just were. Gordon won. They're your 1A six-man state champion.
It's a great time of year in Jerry World. I love that all the games get to be played in there, even though it's, what, an 80-yard field for six-man?
Yeah.
They modify it a little bit.
They rope it off and shorten the field, and it's narrower as well. It's fun to watch. Six-man's a fun watch.
It's like an area. It's like an arena league almost.
Yeah, yeah. There's no stopping them. Everybody's eligible.
Well, this is Don Harris, Matt Roy, as always. We're going to start with number 60. Not a lot of great names, but Otto Graham is one of them. Not a lot of great recent names, let's just say that. Otto Graham, Chuck Bednarik, another one.
Yeah.
Any names that you're going to say that I haven't heard of?
You know, I always educate you on these things,
I know.
Matt. Okay, you ready?
I actually have some education for you as well this time.
All right, here we go. San Antonio high school football has only produced one number one overall pick in the NFL draft.
Okay.
He was number 60, both for the Texas Longhorns and for the Atlanta Falcons.
Wait, what era? Let me guess. What era?
He was on the cover of Time magazine in 63?
As a high schooler?
No, as a Longhorn. They were national champions, and he was the number one overall pick. He was All-American middle linebacker. Played for the Atlanta Falcons.
60 as a middle linebacker?
Yeah, played for the Atlanta Falcons for probably 10 years. Should be in the Hall of Fame, I think. He's not. He has passed away.
Who is it?
Tommy Nobis.
Actually, I saw that on the list. I had never heard of it.
The pride of Jefferson High School.
Jefferson High School. Now look where Jefferson is. That I didn't know. See, but another thing that I like, so I don't know if you've read it, Got Your Numbers, a book by Mike Greenberg and his sidekick, Paul Mbakidis. And so they do like not just jersey numbers, but also like all-time records and rivalries and stuff like that. So like DiMaggio owned 56 because of his hitting streak and all that stuff. So in their book, they actually have the rivalry between Martina Navratilova and Chrissy Everett as 60 because they played against each other 60 times, and that rivalry is one of the best of all time.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest.
So that's another one. They played in 14 Grand Slam finals too. So
legends,
absolute legends. But the best of all time, and this is where my education for you comes in, the best 60 of all time, roll tape, Luis, is me.
Really?
Look over.
Oh, wow.
Got Matthew Tyler Roy, number 60, on the field,
Number
getting some
60,
water there.
Number one in your heart.
Number one in your heart.
In your program.
I played in one game my senior year because I was a bench player. So, but best clipboard holder Fort Lewis College has ever seen. Paid for my education and hurt my ankle on.
They paid for your education and you only played in one game?
Absolutely.
That's a heck of a scholarship.
I deserved it. I was the best bench player ever. Funny, actually not so funny story, actually a tragic story that I hate telling. My senior game, which is where all those pictures are from, is the
one game where you're sweating?
The one game where I was actually playing, and I was going to start that game, and I did start that game. Because it was senior day, and they were letting all the seniors start, and our year, we were 5-6, not going to the playoffs anyway. So we were on the field and for warm-ups, and we're going into the locker room, just about to start the game so we can run out. And I'm turning around on cement with my cleats on to give my friends high fives as we're going into the locker room. I twist my ankle the day I'm going to start my senior day. And so I literally played one play, and my ankle was so freaking swollen that I couldn't even play that much. I was so mad, and my friends, who are now the best man, and everybody in my wedding was just like, that's just the epitome of your athleticism. So your college
football career consisted of one play?
No, my junior and senior year did. My freshman and sophomore year when I was at junior college, I played a lot more.
Oh, okay.
And so I had earned the scholarship well.
Okay.
But the problem was, anyway, we have to get on to me, but the problem was that they moved me from tight end to tackle, and you saw in those pictures, I was not very big. Like, I wasn't a tackle size.
You're pretty big, Matt. You can play tackle now, let's put it that way.
I don't know. I also didn't play much my senior year because I had a torn rotator cuff, labrum, and bicep, so that didn't go well either. But anyway,
I've seen your Whataburger order. You can play tackle now.
I can eat like a tackle, that's for sure. All right, let's get some high school football of guys that are actually good on the field. But anyway, I thought that was funny. Season wrap up. So it was a lot of amazing performances this year that we saw in high school football. We're going to kind of put a bow on it here before we get to the Smithson Valley Aledo game, which is going to be played Friday in Arlington. That's our last a team from our area that's done, or that is still going. So Chuck, Don, Zach, myself, we've all kind of been discussing it here all year on the Sneakers Cleats podcast, the High School Hype Squad episodes. We're going to wrap everything up here. What this whole season as a whole, what is your top 3 takeaway from this year? There were a couple of themes of this year. There was a lot of coaches' sons, I felt like, this year. There was a lot of comeback performances or surprise teams, if it's a Piper or if it's a John Jay, who Gary Gutierrez did a fantastic job. What were kind of your main takeaways as we went through this season?
Well, I would say the parity at the top, Steele, Johnson, Reagan in 6A were there all year. Brennan was down just a little bit, although they were still very good. I would say that was one of them. The 5A level, Alamo Heights and Piper kind of moving ahead of the Bernies and Bernie champions of the world. And Davenport, the Comal School District, had 3 teams in the semifinals. Piper, Davenport, and Smithson Valley.
So impressive.
Just very impressive. Those are Larry Hill's kids, that have left him to go to other places, and those kids are in the state semifinals. It's amazing.
Yeah, we were talking to Jake South last night, and he was a freshman at Smithson Valley when then Piper opened up, and he was like, well, Rylan Walker's there. And that's a kid that they competed against each other all year and throughout their entire childhoods growing up in that Smithson Valley Piper area in that Comal County. And they were he's like, well, Rylan's here. Why don't I go take my talents over to this new school and start there? And look how great they did.
By the
it's
way,
just amazing.
If you drive over and see the campus at Piper, you know why you would want to go there.
Immaculate.
It's unbelievable.
Well, yeah, freaking.
It looks like it's worth $1 billion.
Brian's kids both go there.
It's
and
amazing.
It's unfathomable.
University of Piper.
Yeah, seriously. But the parody aspect of it was really impressive because last year we kind of had the DeBose brothers, and you had a lot of really
Steele and Brennan.
Yeah, it was Steele and Brennan from the top, and then this year you had Soto came on for really well for a little bit, and you had John Jay, which kind of came out of nowhere with Gary Gutierrez and Jackson Gutierrez leading it.
7-0.
Yeah, the coach's kid, and they made it second, third round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, Gary did a great job over there. You have so many teams that were competing for that final playoff spot in that Northeast district. I know you had Johnson and Reagan, but you had the Churchills and the Clarks and the Roosevelts and all those.
Brennan Carroll had a fantastic year.
Yeah, that was my next one. Next question for you. Who impressed you the most when it comes to players on the field? I know Brennan Carroll, Jake South offensively.
Ty Hawkins,
ridiculous. Brad Jackson over at Reagan, the quarterback over there.
Elijah Walton at Harlan, and on the defensive side.
There was so many amazing standout performances. I know we were both impressed with what's his name? The Bernie Champion kid that made the Sawyer Boley. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're both so impressed with him too.
The best player in town, I think, is a sophomore, and that's the running back at Steele.
Jonathan Hatton. Isn't he committed to Oklahoma already?
He's committed to Oklahoma already. I mean, you could say that with Peoples too, going to Ohio State. But the number of big-time Division I, I'm not talking, Baylor and UTSA and Houston. I'm talking about Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas-type kids. Mm-hmm. We've got a few in the pipeline. Ty Hawkins is one of those going to TCU. So for the next couple of years with Ty Hawkins and the Hatton, Cooper is young.
Royal Capel.
Both receivers, and then the quarterback, Chad Warner, is a good prospect. So,
and the thing about Steele is that everybo's coming back.
Yeah.
They lost a couple of defensive players, and they have people to replace them. Not replace, but step up when those two graduate, when the 2 or 3 graduate. They need a little bit of size in their D-line, but their whole offensive weaponry is coming back.
Yeah.
Every single player.
Legit.
So I wanted to ask you, I mean, you've been covering, you grew up here.
Watch it.
You're not that old.
There you go. I'm also a historian,
you
so
are.
I seem older than I am.
Exactly.
I know
You're
a lot of the
wise
stuff
beyond your years.
from way before I was born.
So 70s, 80s, 90s, San Antonio football was kind of like the cream of the crop. At least that's from my judgment and from, Judson and Churchill and
in the
all those
70s,
guys. Yeah.
Judson in the 80s,
So
90s.
it seemed like, and this is just my perspective, it seemed like in the late 90s, 2000s, in the aughts, the 2010s, that you really didn't have, like, everything kind of expanded outward. You had Austin kind of stepping up then, and then you have the Aledos, and you have the Houston kind of coming crazy, and Dallas going crazy, Duncanville, and all those things. And now you almost see, like, it's changing back as people start going south to the Rio Grande Valley, and you see them going south back to San Antonio, or going from San Antonio now going maybe a little bit like northeast. So what is it kind of that you've seen as kind of the power has shifted around in that, is that now it's kind of coming back to San Antonio?
Well, I think there's a lot of the rules have been flexed so that there's a lot more school choice, and so every kid in Austin that's worth anything in football goes to either Westlake or Lake Travis, and so they have dynasty-like programs. The growth of San Antonio has helped a couple of programs really step forward, and Bernie, both Champion and Greyhounds are really solid programs. Bernie Greyhounds played in the state championship game last year, but I think it's the growth of San Antonio. I don't know that it's going back, because San Antonio teams still don't seem to get past Westlake or Lake Travis in the 6A division. I'm glad to see Smithson Valley break through and get to the state title game in the 5A division, but Austin still has a stranglehold on the region with Westlake and Lake Travis.
They do, but you see teams like Reagan, Smithson Valley,
Yeah.
You see them competing more, because, like, a couple of years ago, and I don't think I'm breaking any new ground here, Brennan was getting destroyed, and
Yeah.
Westlake was destroying all of the San Antonio teams. Lake Travis destroying all the San Antonio teams. But you saw Brennan beat Lake Travis last year in the playoffs and then lose to Westlake.
You always, to me, the recipe for success has always been high enrollment, a good mix of athletes and big guys, and then you have to have that star. Like for Judson, they got over the hump because they had Gerard Douglas. For Steele, they won the state championship game with Malcolm Brown. But if you don't have that star, you might get there, but you might not get over the hump. That's why you saw, Garrett Wilson, who's with the Jets now, was on that Lake Travis team.
Mm-hmm.
He had 4 or 5 guys around him too that were just as good. But you have to have a couple of those guys, those Ohio State, Alabama guys, to get you over the hump.
Well, also you look at like Smithson Valley now, and we'll get to them in a second. Coach Larry Hill has said multiple times, like, we don't have that star. We don't have that one guy, but everybody plays together for the guy with them. So
that'll take you a long way. I don't know that it takes you, like Aledo, who he's getting ready to run into this week. They have 3 national top 100 recruits.
They also have 11 national or state championships since 1999.
And 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So the reason they have that is because of good players. So, look, I tip my cap to Larry Hill, man. That guy gets more out of his guys. His teams are military-run operations, and they are disciplined. Those kids are tough as nails. They are incredibly disciplined, and they trust in everybody else and love each other and all that. And that in Texas high school football will win your district every time. It'll get you to the regionals. Sometimes it gets you to the state Final Four, the state title game. But if you're going to win a state championship, you got to have the hoss.
And you do, and you've seen that here. But the point of bringing all this up is it kind of seems like there was a lull for San Antonio there for a little bit. And now there's not. Now it seems like with the population growth and with the making of new schools like Piper and like Davenport and with the Sotomayors, and like you see so many new schools popping up that kids are being dispersed, and you see so many great like programs being built.
Oh yeah. We got. I still want to see the 6As get past Lake Travis and West.
But I think for sure, and I think we will in the coming years, because
Steele will next year.
I think Steele's going to be a wagon next year for sure. And that was the next question I was going to ask you. Who this year that you saw that might have fallen short, maybe is still in the championship game? What teams? Give me 3.
Johnson.
That is going to be really good next year.
Johnson, Steele, and
Reagan's going to be really good. They have Cole Pryor coming back.
Yeah, Reagan's going to be really good too. Yeah, in
Reagan.
the 6A.
And then who's
Bernie Champion and Bernie will be good.
Brennan.
Alamo Heights with Michael Taylor.
I think what's really going to help Michael Terry. It's going to be really good is that Alamo Heights is going to move into a harder district next year.
Yeah, that'll be good for
That's
them.
going to be really good for them to learn how to win those close games because you saw against Piper, they just don't have that.
He's a he's a hoss.
Oh, Michael Terry's phenomenal.
He's a hoss.
But you know who's really going to be good next year is Caden Glass in the Brendan Bears.
Okay.
Brendan Bears are going to be a year older. They're losing Jason Love. They're losing his brother, the safety. His first name's escaping me, but Love on the backside. They're going to be really good as they don't lose a lot of seniors, and they're really young this year. Another year under their belt. They're going to be phenomenal.
But Baser does a great job there.
Absolutely. We can't say enough good things about Baser. But anyway, we had a great high school football season. I can't wait to wrap it up on Friday. Smithson Valley's taking on Aledo. Aledo. 7 o'clock Friday, December 15th at AT&T in Arlington. This is the first time in the state championship game for Smithson Valley since 2004. They also went in 01 and 02. They've lost all three. None of them particularly that close, I don't believe, if I was looking at the right thing.
They missed on a field goal. They had a game-winning field goal that would have won it. I think it was 04.
Okay. Smithson Valley, literally 1 point away from being perfect this season. They lost to Reagan week 1, haven't lost since, and really, in the regular season, none of their games were particularly close. And
they're good.
But in the postseason, College Station was close. They killed Brownsville Vet Memorial.
College Station from last year, too, was a great game.
They went on to play Aledo last year in the state championship and ended up actually losing pretty close, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it was a 15, 16-point game. And when you're playing Aledo, it's a close game.
Yeah.
But as we look at this year, Aledo, obviously, absolute juggernauts, 11 state championships since 1999. Don, you've covered Larry Hill a lot.
Yes, I have.
I don't want to say how long either of you have been at your schools. I think Larry's been there 31 years. You've been here
longer than that.
Similar time frame, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
What is it about Larry Hill? What is it about how he coaches a team and how he connects with his players that gets them back and at least gets them good every year, not back to the state championship?
Well, he's like Pop in that he doesn't suffer any fools. Right? I mean, he is all business. You are in or it's going to be his way or you're gone. And he's established, like Coach Pop, a program and a reputation that the whole community buys in. I guarantee you, Larry, like every coach in town has parents. My kid needs to play chirping, those kind of things. I guarantee you he doesn't have that in Smithson Valley. Larry Hill runs Smithson Valley. He's built the program. He's earned the respect. I coached against them, okay, and I say them because this is a funny story. When my son was in the 4th grade, the first year of tackle football, of course, you play flag football in first, second, third, but then you move to tackle football in the 4th grade. And you join the YMCA-type leagues, right? And so we were the Eagles, and there's the Raiders and all this. Well, there's a team called the Rangers, and they wear the white uniforms and the blue solid helmets with the white stripe, the Penn State look, right? And the dads coach those kids into the Smithson Valley program, into the culture, not in the middle schools like everybody else. It starts in the 4th grade. Those kids are Smithson Valley Rangers, and they play a particular brand of football. They're tough. They're physical. They're bullies. They run the out. Of course, they don't throw the football in the 4th grade much, but it's part of the culture and the fabric of the whole community. And now I'm interested to see how that has splintered off into Piper and Davenport, because I think the kids at this point are still Smithson Valley kids that have gone down there. But that's why, it's a culture from the very beginning, and he's established it. People respect it, and the kids know what it's all about.
I'd argue that the success that Davenport and Piper have had in their first couple of years in existence is partly because of Larry Hill.
Sure.
Because of the way that he's almost cultivated that entire area.
Correct.
And all of those kids that were going to go to Smithson Valley and compete for his team had been growing on those small, the Rangers teams in elementary school or in middle school. And all having kind of that belief, like, okay, when I get to high school, I'm going to play Smithson
Football
Valley.
is a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but it's also a credit to Piper and whoever's making the decisions in Comal to go out and get Coach Rogers from Cedar Park, who was throwing the football, and some new fresh ideas.
For sure.
But the culture has already been the foundation's been laid.
Yeah, Larry Hill's a legend. He's going to be a San Antonio Sports Hall of Famer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's going to be might even be a Texas Hall of Famer.
He might already be in the Texas High School Coaches Hall of Fame.
I mean, if he's not, he should be. That I don't know. But anyway, Chuck got a second to chat with Larry. I think it was on Monday about the upcoming game. So let's hear from Coach Larry Hill and Chuck McKittick's conversation for a few minutes here, and then we'll come back and close this thing out and put a bow on a nice high school football season.
Oh, hey, congratulations, dude. Very well done. I mean, did you see? I mean, it's not supposed to be as easy as y'all made it look over the weekend. That's for sure. I mean, how did you feel you guys did?
Well, I thought getting up on them early was big. I mean, of course, you would love to do that every game, but with that Navy, Army, military academy option style offense, throwing's not what they do a lot of. So getting a hot start and scoring, I guess the first 4 or 5 times we had the ball, that made it tough on them. They couldn't play their kind of game. And so it got away from them. And, we got to get all our players in the game, which, in a semifinal game, that doesn't happen too often. So we were tickled.
Yeah, I can imagine. How long did you give yourself to celebrate before you really started looking ahead to Aledo and all that it's going to take to play in that game, and as big as it is and all that?
Yeah, I mean, as the clock round down, the elation of winning and of course going to the next round is quickly tempered by, what you're up against. At that point, I didn't know who had won the other game, but I knew it was going to be somebody really good regardless. So that's kind of how it is when it's down to 2 teams. I don't think there's any instances of somebody not being very good on the other end.
So do you tell your team about the history of that school and what they've meant to their division over the years? I mean, or is it literally because it's a year-to-year thing, it really doesn't matter what they've done to this point? And do you have to guard against, maybe them reading too much of the press clippings going in? Your guys.
Yeah, well, in this age of social media and so much instant information through the internet, our players are very aware of Aledo's history, but at the same time, it's this game this year. I mean, kudos to them for what they've done, and we hold them in high regard, have all the respect in the world for what they have achieved. But our players are very focused, and we're not spending any time celebrating going up there. Our goal was not to go up there. Our goal is to get up there and win. So. Had good practice today, and we'll continue to prepare through the week.
Well, I mean, everybody says that every year, Larry, but I mean, obviously these opportunities are few and far between. I mean, was this on the chalkboard at the beginning of the year to be where you are right here, right now?
At the risk of sounding arrogant, we plan on being here. We had a narrow miss a year before and, got stopped on the 1-yard line, and if we get another yard, we're very likely playing this game a year ago. And, I don't think revenge was certainly not motivation. I just think it just showed our players, I mean, not much. The margin for error at this level is pretty slim, but there was certainly no reason why that couldn't have happened. And they planned on being here.
Well, what's Aledo going to get from you guys? I mean, what should they expect knowing that, there's a history at Smithson Valley too?
Well, I hope they think they're going to get a team that's going to play hard, play disciplined, play well, and they don't have any weaknesses like you would expect. But we're gonna have to make the most of the opportunities when they present themselves, whether it's a short field created by a turnover, or maybe a kicking game play, or have a long drive. But I think we're going to have some explosive plays as well. I don't think at this level, you can think that you're going to put a bunch of 8, 10, 12 play drives back to back to back to back. I mean, that's a little naive. While we're going to need to do that some, we're going to have some big chunk plays as well. And on the flip side of that, we're going to have to limit their big chunk plays. And that's easier said than done because they've got a roster full of loaded playmakers.
What about for you personally? I mean, any satisfaction that here you are again, that you've come and done this again. And again, I mean, it's one thing to say it, but it's one thing to, get there and do it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, did you think it'd be so far in between?
Well, no, I didn't think so. I think, I don't really give a whole lot of thought to what's in the past or whatever. We're trying to play this game this week right now. And, we've had some near misses, as you said, in the finals, but we've had a near miss or two in the semifinals. And I think since we've last been to this round, I think we've been beaten by the state champion 5 or 6 times in an earlier round. So again, where do you meet that team? And sometimes it is the last game. Sometimes it's been as early as the first game, second game, third game. So, we have felt like, to use a analogy, you're pitching washers at that hole. We feel like we've been around that hole a lot, not necessarily in the last game, sometimes the next to last game or the next to last game or even around before that. But, I think that's the key. You've got to be around it enough to when the time comes for that thing to fall over and get in that hole, you're there. But you've got it. It's tough to get to that point right up to the cusp.
Well done to this point for sure. I mean, congratulations to you all. I mean, but any sense of like, man, you get to go play in Jerry World. I mean, how exciting is all this? I mean, not only for you, but for the kids, and game's going to be televised. People around the planet are going to see it. I mean, just everything that goes along with getting to this point.
Well, that is exciting. It really is. But at the same time, we talked this morning, 6:30 when they come in. We got to win Monday. We've got to win Monday. Yeah, all that's out there, more media exposure and that kind of thing. But, these 19 periods that we're on the field have got to be really, really good. And this meeting that we're fixing to dive into in a few minutes, you got to be locked in, laser focused. Those are the kind of being good at those things is what's allowed you to win enough games to be here. And this week can't be any different. And you're right, it's real easy to get swallowed up in the other and be neglectful for that. And the coach is not going to let that happen.
Now, Don was showing me a map of all the teams that are left in the state. If you draw a line from Houston to Dallas, you guys and one other school in Northwest Texas are the only ones left standing in terms of not being in that region of the state. How much pride do you take, kind of flying the flag for this area, doing what you guys have done this year? And will you take a little of that with you when you go?
Well, we're certainly proud of where we're from. Of course, our school. We don't really have a town. It's just a bedroom community that a lot of the town centers around the school and its activities and football in this particular case. So, we're proud to carry the banner for our school, of course, first and foremost. And we haven't spent a lot of time talking about regional pride or, hey, go up and win it for, Comal County or San Antonio or anything like that. I mean, we just want to win the game. Maybe we're oversimplifying everything, but or maybe the coach is real boring and he just won't let them get into that. But I just think having been here a few times before and in and around this game, you can lose track of your focus real easy, and we're trying really hard not to do that because we know it'll take a supreme effort to get what we're going up there after, and part of that is what are you doing Monday from right now all the way to kickoff.
What about 3 keys to victory? What do you guys have to do to get this game?
Well, we mentioned explosive plays a minute ago. I think we've got to create our fair share of them, and we got to limit those. And then the turnover margin, we got to get some takeaways. We got to create some short fields, take away a possession of theirs or steal some more possessions for us. So I think explosives and turnovers, and then kicking game. We're going to have to make some impact, not just hold the rope plays in the kicking game. I mean, impactful, game-changing plays, and that can come a lot of ways. Big return, a block kick, punt, pin them down inside their 5, give them a long field. I mean, things that people don't talk about it, but I think that's the third and biggest key.
Larry, thank you as always for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And,
You bet.
I'm pulling for you guys this weekend. Go give them hell.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, the great Larry Hill. I'm not going to say we expect them to win or lose on Friday.
I told you he was all business.
He is all business. He doesn't give a crap, man. He's ready to lace him up right now.
Great story about Larry Hill.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Yeah.
We're doing TNL Thursday Night Lights. I'm standing on the field in the end zone.
I was going to ask you to tell this story, but I didn't
No,
know if
it's
you wanted
cool.
to. Or not.
I mean, he knows he's regimented. I mean, that's what makes him great.
Yeah.
So I'm standing like past the end zone, getting ready to do my 6 o'clock live shot. And I turn around and I see him, and he's walking he's on the field, walking the hash marks, all 100 yards, like he's counting them, staring at the ground, kind of mumbling to himself. And he walks up to me and goes, "Hey, Don." I said, "Hey, Larry." Now, again, remember, this is like 6:15, and they're going to play on Thursday Night Lights. Broadcast starts at 7, kickoff around 7:10. He says, "Hey, Don, what time are we kicking off tonight? Is it 7:08 or is it 7:10? I said, "Larry, I don't know. Our producer, Chris Kopfus, has the exact commercial break structure. I just called the game. I think it's 7:10. Well, is it 7:08 or 7:10? Well, Larry, I think it's 7:10. And he got a little perturbed. He goes, "Well, you know what? I've been planning my whole day around 7:08. And I was like, "What? Like 2 minutes? 2 minutes, really?" But no, that goes to show you how precise the plan is. We're on the bus at this time. We eat at this time. We do this drill at this time. And it's a recipe for success.
And hopefully it's a recipe for success on Friday. I'd love nothing more than to see Smithson Valley win their first
Yeah, for
state
sure.
title.
He deserves it.
He deserves it, absolutely. Before we get out, so I have one thing I wanted to ask you. Since you're the uniform czar, you're the Spurs guy.
Yes.
I have a question. So
Yes.
the Spurs are playing against the Lakers tonight.
Yes.
So LeBron and the Lakers. LeBron
Yes.
might not play, but that's besides the point. I am a Miami Heat fan.
Okay.
I have been forever.
Shame.
I have a LeBron jersey,
Is a Miami Heat,
a Miami Heat LeBron jersey,
6 black.
6 black. Can I wear it tonight? Can I wear it to the game? I'm going to the game tonight.
Sure, you can wear it.
Can I wear it? Where's that bad etiquette? What's the etiquette for this?
Well, the truth is, it has nothing to do with your fanship. It has everything to do with your age. I don't believe that men over 25 should wear jerseys.
Okay, well, okay, maybe you're the wrong person to ask.
Okay, like 24, you're still in college. You're that beer guy, that, woo, my team. But 25, you're married.
Yeah, she's going to the game too.
Okay, well, see what she says.
She says it's fine.
Okay, then it's fine.
But you're the uniform guy. You're the one. I'm
the husband. I'm smart enough to know whatever my wife says is cool is cool. Hey, happy wife, happy life.
Well, like if LeBron's not even playing,
ain't mama happy, ain't nobody happy. But if LeBron's not playing, well, first of all,
if LeBron's not playing and I wear LeBron's Miami Heat jersey, is that even worse?
Here's what I want to know more than anything. He's been with the Lakers for a while now.
Yeah.
Does the jersey still fit?
That's actually a good question. I actually don't know if it does.
Have you seen the commercial where the lady, like, they're trying to put the turkey in the oven, and the lady's like, "That's not going to fit." The guy's going to the garage, "That's not going to fit." And the guy holds up a sweater on Christmas. She goes, "That's not going to fit." He goes, "Really?" And she goes, "Matt." Like, that's a medium.
Well, actually,
you're an XL now.
So the problem is that I'm going to put the jersey on at like 5:30 probably, right before we leave the house for the game. And I'm going to think of this moment when it doesn't fit.
How long has it been since you put it on?
Since I put it on, probably at least 5-6 years.
Oh, it's not going to fit.
It's from his Heat days. His last Heat days
It's
were
not
in
gonna fit.
13-14 when they lost to the Spurs. So
No, if it's snug, you can't wear it.
what if I just go completely shirtless underneath just the jersey?
No, don't subject anyone to that. You're a public figure now. You can't embarrass the station like that.
If anybody sees me in a LeBron jersey tonight, you'll just think of this conversation. Anyway, all right. Before we get out, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been watching these Wednesday episodes all season long. I believe this is 15, 16 of them that we've done. I've loved highlighting the high school football.
Done a great job, Matt.
And high school players that are in our area. Loved having all the high school coaches and players on and repurposing a lot of those interviews because I feel like that's our duty. That's what we do here, is especially as a local news station. We highlight our local athletes.
Hats off to you and Luis for what you guys have done with this podcast. It looks brilliant. It's fantastic.
I appreciate it. And
it's come a long way. You guys do a great job.
Sorry to subject everybody to the Matt Roy 60 pictures earlier. I just had to get that in there.
Now, those were good. Don't subject them to you in the jersey tonight.
Don't you put that evil on them, Ricky Bobby.
It's a different story.
All right, so just FYI, just some programming note for everybody. After this episode, we're now going to switch to Monday, Thursdays. We're going to have a Friday episode this week. It'll be me and Rocky, And then next week, we're going to start switching to Monday, Thursdays. However, next week is a little weird. We are going to do a live podcast from Frisco, Texas in the UTSA Marshall game on Tuesday.
And if we do it from Frisco, outside, on the field, it will still, I guarantee you, even if it's snowing, be warmer than it is in this studio right now.
He's absolutely not wrong. I'm frozen solid right now. But all right, we are doing that on Tuesday, and then we will have a Thursday episode. We are going to take the week of Christmas off, and then we will come back in the new year and be back and better than ever. Mondays, Thursdays, ready for a Cowboy Super Bowl run.
Peace out.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us right now on the High School Hype Squad episode of the Sneakers Cleats podcast. We will be back on Friday. Quick reminder, you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Please download, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, tell an enemy. Give us a 5-star rating, give us some feedback. Feedback is a gift. We'll see you on Friday right here on the Sneakers Cleats podcast. I got that done so fast.
You sound like that guy in the gambling commercials on the radio. Exempt in Wisconsin.